Welcome! Today we are going to have a look at one of this channel's favorite flat earth fools, Level Earth Observer, and this time he tries to debunk the globe, satellites, by using images from military aircrafts from the US. But first, I want to give a big thanks to my patrons and supporters and donors. Here they are. The money will be used in the Compass project and the Arctic Scholarship. Updates on both those projects next week.
Now, that's an E-2 Hawkeye, 1960s propeller aeroplane. What's quite revealing is the United States Navy dependence on this 1960s propeller plane. Each of their aircraft, I believe, has 4 of these aeroplanes as a safety net, if you like, to protect them from hostile threats at sea. Strange that the American military, which supposedly sent satellites in space to give us our GPS system, has to depend on 1960s propeller planes to defend its own aircraft carriers when they're at sea.
The E-2 Hawkeye was introduced in the 60s, but it have been upgraded time after time and is still produced. So the ones they use today is not produced at the 60s. And the airplane is a platform for other technique. The radar and the other advanced technique on the plane is not from the 60s. It's top notch and the latest. So this is pure bullshit.
Kind of gives the game away, because you can't blag it at sea. You come unstuck against a hostile threat. You have to rely on 1960s propeller aeroplanes as your early warning detection system to protect the United States Navy, in particular your aircraft carriers, etc. That's kind of revealing, isn't it? Bear with me. It's an old image of an American aircraft carrier, and at the back we can see at least 4 of the Hawkeye aeroplanes. No doubt 2 will be in the sky at the same time when they're in hostile waters, to give them that eye in the sky, that protection, that safety net, that early warning detection system. You would have thought by now, though, that there would be a satellite system in place to protect the might of the American military at land, at sea, wherever they chose to be. You certainly think they'd be doing better now than depending on 1960s propeller planes. That's the 1960s version. This is the modern version. This is your satellites, people. Aeroplanes, military aeroplanes. Not tin cans going around a spinning ball, because the American Navy wouldn't be dependent on these aircraft if real satellites, or satellites in the sense of going around a spinning ball, were real. They're not. And this aircraft proves it, and the fact the United States Navy keeps investing in more and more of these aircraft just exposes the lie even more. Remember, the American military supposedly put satellites in space for GPS. You would have thought in their common sense, American proud might, they would have set a system in place to defend their armies and their navy wherever they chose to be.
Leo, you're really a genius. Then every military vessel would have to have its own satellite. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Could it be that the GPS system is simply a land-based system? And that the American Navy's dependence on this propeller plane?
GPS is not a tracking system, it's a navigation aid, and it's not land-based. If you look at marine traffic, you can see ships in the middle of the oceans, at the polar regions and so on. And on Flight Radar 24, you can see airplanes all over the globe, in the middle of the Atlantic. How can you explain that if it's land-based? They haven't that reach. And another thing, it's worthless to use in military purposes because the location is transmitted from the ship. You have only to close or shut down the transmitter and you're not visible in this type of systems. So this is so plain stupid.
Kind of exposes the satellites going around a spinning ball. Doesn't take much to break down this bullshit. It really doesn't. Otherwise, I wouldn't be dependent on 1960s propeller planes. I'd have a super futuristic satellite system in place. I'd have done that before the GPS system.
In reality, Leo, these propeller planes reveals your flat earth lie. Have you wondered why they are used? Why do they have airplanes with radars? They have radars on the ship, powerful radars. It's because we have a horizon, a radar horizon. So if you put the radar high up, you see further and get the early warning. That's the reasons for these planes. And they don't need to have jet engines and high speeds. They are cruising on a high altitude near the ships to get great radar coverage around the ships. So they don't go far away, they go high up. Because we live on a globe, not a flat earth.
I certainly wouldn't be relying on 1960s propeller planes by now if the claims that the mainstream are making were true. Clearly, they're not. Satellites come in the form of military planes, some cases balloons, but not in the sense of tin cans flying around a spinning ball. This aircraft's existence in modern times proves that. Sorry if that disappoints you. Sorry if you think you live on a cannonball flying through a vacuum. It's just not true. It's just absurd.
Leo, you're full of bullshit. Have you ever done any military service? Have you seen a radar and used it in real life? Have you used the GPS to navigate? I doubt it. I have been working part-time as a military for 30 years and still does. I'm the commander of military ships. I use this type of equipment all the time and I know how they works. Stick to your tower crane because you have no clue how the real world works and how real military equipment works. Okay, that was all for this time. I hope you liked the video. If you want to support the projects, the Compass project and the satellite project, links in the description and more about these projects next week. See you next time. Bye.